the first thing we saw that within the name itself, the gospel is there.
Vidíme, že práve v týchto menách vidíme evanjelium.
Then, when Adam was 130 years old, he fathered his son in his likeness after his image, and he named him Seth. So Seth was born when Adam was 130 years old.
Čiže Adam, keď mal 130 rokov, narodil sa mu Set, ktorý bol na jeho obraz.
Okay, so this is Adam. Yeah, this is Adam's genealogy.
Toto je Adamovo rodokmeň.
Okay, now 130 years old is Adam and Seth is born. Okay, now
keď mal 130 rokov, Set sa narodil.
Then the days of Adam after fathering Seth were 800, which means 800 plus 130, that is 930 years.
Čiže potom sa Adam dožil ďalších 800, ďalších 900, koľko?
900.
Ďalších 800 rokov, čiže dokopy to bolo 930 rokov.
Okay, so you can see here 800 years. This is Genesis 5:4, and so Adam lived 930 years. Okay.
Genesis 5. kapitola, verš 4. Tam sa píše, že Adam žil ešte 800 rokov a narodili sa mu synovia a dcery.
When Seth had lived 105 years, he fathered Enosh. So Seth had lived 105 years. So let us look at Seth. This is Seth. Okay. So Seth had lived 105 years.
Seth teda žil, keď mal 105 rokov, tak sa mu narodil Enos.
Okay. So Seth had lived 105 years, which means here, somewhere in between this, Enosh was born.
A medzi tým sa narodil Enos.
Okay.
Vám to ukazuje na tej tabuľke, vidíte to?
Okay.
Áno.
All right. Then Enosh, if you see, it says, thus, Seth lived after Enosh 807 years. Thus, the days of Seth was 912. Then Enosh was, verse 9, 90 years old, he fathered Cainan.
Čiže všetkých Setových dní bolo 912 rokov a potom zomrel. Keď mal Enos 90 rokov, narodil sa mu Kainan.
So, this is supposed to be Enosh's genealogy, Enosh's years. And here you have Cainan in 90 years old, correct?
Keď mal 90 rokov, mal Kainana.
Okay. Then Cainan was born, and then we see in verse 12, when Cainan was 70 years old, he fathered Mahalalel. So 70 years. So which means this is Cainan. So we will put here, this is Adam, we know. This is Seth. This is Seth. This is Enosh. This has to be here. Then this is Cainan.
Kainan.
70 years old, yeah? When Enosh was 70 years old,
Keď mal 70 rokov, tak sa mu narodil Malael.
Yeah? Oh, no, sorry. This is supposed to be Cainan. This is 90 years old. Enosh, 90 years old.
Enos.
So this Enosh should be 90 years old. Here. And then this is Enosh was here. "70 years old, Mahila."
A keď mal Kainán 70 rokov, narodil sa mu Malael.
Okay. Then we see when Mahalalel was 65 years old, he fathered Jared. So 65 years old. So this we'll remove from here. Mahalalel was 65 years old. So we'll put them here.
Keď mal Malael 65 rokov, narodil sa mu Jared.
Here we have. Oh. Are you with me?
Sledujete? Nestratili ste sa?
Okay. Then when Jared, where is this? Jared was 162 years old. He fathered Enoch. So 162 years old, yeah?
Čiže keď mal Jared 162 rokov, narodil sa mu Henoch.
So this Enoch should come here, 162 years old. Okay. Then we see Methuselah. So when Enoch was 65 years old, he fathered Methuselah.
Keď mal Henoch 65 rokov, narodil sa mu Matuzalem.
You see? Then
Vidíte?
Then when Methuselah, Methuselah lived, or Methuselah fathered Lamech. So Lamech, where is Lamech? Here it is. So Methuselah was 187 years old. He fathered Lamech.
Keď mal Matuzalem 187 rokov, narodil sa mu Lamech.
So here is Lamech. Okay. Then when Lamech was 182 years old, he fathered Noah.
Keď mal Lamech 182 rokov, narodil sa mu syn Noa.
So Noah was born here. So after how many years of Adam was he born?
Že koľko rokov po Adamovi sa narodil?
No. 930.
Jaká bola otázka? Nerozumel som otázku.
Že koľko rokov po Adamovi sa narodil Noé?
Tých 900, neviem koľko tam.
Teraz to tu už napísal Marshall na tabuľku, že 110 rokov.
960. Koľko?
Po 110 rokoch po Adamovi sa narodil Noé.
Čiže už takže Adam už nežil potom, áno?
Áno.
If you see this 110 years over here, tells us that there was Enosh born. Enosh is a mortal. And 110 years later, of Adam, Noah was born who brought peace to the mortals or rest to the mortals.
Že 110, po 110 rokoch sa narodil Enos, čo znamená smrteľník, a 110 rokov po Adamovi sa narodil Noé, čo znamená vlastne utecha alebo pokoj, potešenie.
Now, why am I doing all this? Because I want you to know that about Adam, the knowledge was there in Noah's time.
Can you repeat it, please? I can't hear you.
Knowledge of Adam and what God did to Adam and how he was thrown out of the garden and how Satan tempted him. All the book of Genesis, chapter 1, 2, 3, was already available for Noah because Seth was there alive when Noah was born.
Čiže to všetko už Noé vedel, pretože Seth bol vtedy už nažive. Myslím, že celý Genesis od začiatku, tie prvé 3 kapitoly.
Because Seth lived more than 900 years, 907 years.
Pretože Seth žil viac ako 930 rokov.
So when Seth was just, when Noah was born, Seth would have been around 100 years old.
Keď sa narodil Noé, tak Seth mal okolo 100 rokov.
So that is why we know that Seth, Adam would have told Seth about their life, about Eden.
I can't hear you, sorry.
1 minute.
Vypnúť mikrofóny, lebo potom sa to ruší a ja nepočujem Maršala.
Can you hear me?
Yes, better.
Okay, great. So point is that Seth would have known all about Adam because Adam may have shared with Seth how God in the garden created them and put them in the garden and how
Čiže Seth vedel všetko, pretože Adam mu to porozprával. Že všetko o tom, ako boli stvorení, ako boli pokúšaní v záhrade.
So that is why it is important for us to know how the story of Adam and Eve came to our generation.
Preto je dôležité vedieť, ako príbeh o Adama a Eve prišiel do našej generácie, sa dostal do našej generácie.
Because God made sure that Noah, before the flood, knew about Adam and Eve.
Čiže Boh nás uistil, že Noé ešte pred potopou vedel všetko o Adamovi a Eve.
No, that is why I made this calculation, because this is something very deep. We need to understand this.
Preto som robil tento výpis, aby sme vedeli všetko o tom.
Because now in the chapter 6 as we go, we will then go into Noah's time.
V 6. kapitole už totiž prejdeme do čias Noého.
Then in another 6 chapters, we will have Abraham.
A v ďalších 6 kapitolách budeme mať Abrama.
So Abraham and what happened with him and how the people of Israel were called by God and all of this.
To, čo sa stalo Abramovi, ako ľud Izraela bol povolaný Bohom.
All of this is there in history books. So people find it easy to understand that Abraham would have been there, existed, and Abraham would have known things.
Všetko je to v historických knihách, čiže ľudia si môžu vyhľadať o Abrahamovi všetko.
But the story about the creation seems to be ignored, or we feel that that may not be. That may just be a parable. How will people know this happened?
Čiže príbeh o stvorení sveta sa ignoruje, alebo sa používa iba ako nejaká parabola, nejaký príbeh.
But if you watch carefully in chapter 10, again we have a genealogy of all the people from Noah, how when Noah came out of the ark, and all the way up to Abraham's father. You know what is Abraham's father's name?
Čiže už v 10. kapitole, keď budeme pozorne sledovať, budeme tam mať celý rodokmeň od Noého až po Abrama. What was the question, sorry?
What is Abraham's father's name?
Aké je meno Abramovho otca? Sa pýta Maršal.
Abraham's father's name was Terah.
Meno Abramovho otca bol Tera.
So we have proper documented genealogies of how this has come down to us, the book of Genesis and everything that happened over there.
Čiže máme veľmi podrobnú genealógiu, rodokmeň celého až od stvorenia sveta, ktoré sa nám dostalo.
In chapter 11, we see the Tower of Babel, and then we will see how God dispersed people, and we will then... Yeah.
V 11. kapitole bude zase babylonská väža, a ako sa ľudia rozdelili.
So we have from chapter 6 until chapter 9, we have the flood account.
Od kapitoly 6 až 9 budeme mať potopu.
Then chapter 10 will be genealogy.
10 bude rodokmeň.
Chapter 11 will be Tower of Babel.
11 bude babylonská väža.
And then the history of Israel begins in chapter 12.
A v kapitole 12 začína história Izraela.
So understand this, chapter 5 is kind of a very important part of this historical narrative that God wants to give us, yeah?
Táto 5. kapitola, aby ste rozumeli, je veľmi dôležitá časť histórie,
Yeah.
ktorú nám Boh zjavil.
Here, there is a connection between Adam and it comes down to Noah, which is a whole generation, yeah?
Je tu spojenie medzi Adamom až Noahom.
In the same way, like we made calculation on our Excel sheet, we can also make calculation to see how many years between Adam and Noah.
Čiže ak sme si spravili výpočet v tom Exceli, tak môžeme spraviť výpočet aj od Adama až po Noého.
And because there is a genealogy in chapter 10, again we know how many years passed between Adam and Abraham.
A keďže aj v kapitole 10 je rodokmeň, môžeme si takto vypočítať vlastne roky od Adama až po Abrahama.
And then from Adam to Moses.
A potom od Adama po Mojžiša.
And then from Moses to the time of the captivity, when they were taken into
captivity. A potom od Mojžiša až po to, ako boli v Egypte.
So like that, if we calculate, the Bible tells us that there is some 6,300 years that has happened from the time of creation until today.
6,300. Čiže od stvorenia sveta je 6,300 rokov. 6,300 years till what?
From the time of creation until today, until now.
Čiže je to 6,300 rokov od stvorenia až po dnes.
But then this will come as a shock to you because you have heard people say that the world is more than some 20 million or 20 billion years old.
Môže sa to zdať pre vás šokujúce, lebo ste už určite počuli, že svet je niekoľko miliónov alebo miliard rokov starý.
No. So now it is a challenge for you what you want to believe.
Čiže je to pre vás výzva, čomu uveríte.
So many people think that these stories of the Bible, they are just parables, just fables, just imaginary things.
Mnoho ľudí si myslí, že toto stvorenie sveta a Biblia sú len nejaké príbehy alebo rozprávky.
And what the science teaches, or those who learn about evolution and about the Big Bang and about how it is millions of years old and billions of years old, that seems to be scientific.
Ale to, čo nás učí veda, alebo evolúcia, alebo rôzni veci, tak sa zdá byť také vedecké a múdre.
Now, in which year did man land on the moon first? Any idea?
Viete, v akom roku prvýkrát pristal človek na mesiaci? You mean moon land? Okay.
Moon landing, yes. People landed on the moon first. When? Google out. I think it is 1967 or something like that.
Hovorí, že to môže byť niekedy 1967.
Google out.
Áno, tak.
Vygooglite si to. Že, yes, it is like this.
About 6 missions to the moon were made.
Zhruba 6 misií bolo vypravených na mesiac.
I think the last one was on 1972.
Posledná bola v roku 1972.
And from 1972 until today, how many years? 82, 92, 2002, 2012, 2022. 52 years has gone by.
Prešlo 52 rokov
Nobody has gone on the moon.
a nikto ďalší sa nedostal na mesiac.
With the technology 1967.
Sorry? Nepočula som ťa, Terka, prepáč.
Alenka niečo rozprávala, ale má vypnutý mikrofón, tak nech si pustí, keď chce povedať volať.
V 61. roku Gagarin bol prvý človek vo vesmíre.
Gagarin was the first man in space in 61.
Yeah, okay, okay. The point is, with the technology of 1967 and more than 50, 60 years later, our technology, is it better or not?
Je dnešná technológia lepšia, keďže sa odvtedy nedostal nikto na mesiac?
Then why is man not going on the moon now?
Tak prečo ešte žiaden človek sa nedostal na mesiac v týchto rokoch teraz?
Because our
Je
study...
to drahé a teraz tam pristala nejaká sonda.
It's expensive and some sonda land on the moon.
Nejaká čínska či aká.
Some Chinese sonda.
Okay. If you study this, there are many scientists who say that the landing on the moon was a hoax.
Veľa vedcov hovorí, že pristátie na mesiaci bol hoax.
There was no landing on the moon.
Sorry, there was no landing, you said?
Yeah, there was nobody who landed on the moon.
Že nikto nepristal na mesiaci.
Okay. Now, your mobile phone, your internet, when you are connected to a website, say in India, if I connect to a website in India,
keď sa pripojím cez mobil alebo cez internet na nejakú webovú stránku v Indii,
I am instantly accessing the data on the website.
Mám stály prístup k dátam na web stránke online.
That data is transmitted, we are told, via satellite.
Tieto dáta sú prenášané satelitmi.
Do you think it is via satellite that we are accessing data?
Myslíte si, že sa dostaneme k týmto dátam cez satelity?
Okay.
Satelity vlastne len prenášajú ten signál
Satellite just transmitted the signal.
Okay. In the year 2009, 2010, around those years, in
Oh.
India, I was working, I was doing, what do you call it? MIS, business intelligence. I was doing reports, like some technical work for call.
Okolo roku 2010 som robil v Indii nejakú prácu v business intelligence.
Yeah.
Business intelligence.
With regard to reports and with some technical work, which was with regard to the call centers. You know, there are call centers in India. There are many call centers in India.
No, v nejakých call centrách v Indii.
No? And for a long time, almost 6 months, all the call centers shut down.
Na 6 mesiacov spadli všetky call centra.
You know why?
Viete prečo?
Because the sharks had eaten the cables in the ocean from where the data was being transferred.
Pretože žraloky požrali káble, ktoré boli pod vodou a prenášali signál.
All this data that comes, you can Google this out. There is nothing to do with the satellite. It is a hoax.
Môžete to vygoogliť, že to vôbec nemá nič so satelitmi, že je to hoax.
We have that comes through satellites.
Once again, please.
We have some weather information that comes through satellites.
Máme nejaké údaje o počasí, ktoré prichádzajú zo satelitov.
And there are many satellites already which have been, which are in the space.
Je mnoho satelitov, ktoré sú vo vesmíre.
But there is a point from where the satellites cannot go beyond that point outside in space, and nothing, even the rockets cannot go.
Potom je tam nejaký bod, cez ktorý tie satelity nemôžu prejsť a ani tie rakety.
Do you know
Vesmírne rakety. Vedeli ste to?
Now all of this, what NASA tells us when they give us pictures of the moon, of the Earth from space or from planets, the NASA website, if you research, it says they are photoshopped. They are not original pictures.
Všetky fotografie, ktoré dala NASA o tom, že sa pristalo na mesiaci, nie sú pravdivé, že sú Photoshop.
There are many falls in the videos of the landing of the moon or on space or whatever they show. There are many falls in that. And NASA is not able to answer why it is like that.
Je mnoho takých nezrovnalostí vo videách a v obrázkoch, ktoré sa týkajú pristátia na mesiaci a NASA ich ani nevyvracia nejakým spôsobom.
I'm telling you this because I was talking about the Earth being 6,000 years old.
Hovorím vám to preto, že Zem je stará 6300 rokov.
Now, just like the Bible gives us some information, there are people out there who give us information saying that through a telescope, they have been observing space, and then they tell us about black holes and they tell us about so many things in space. Yeah.
Čiže tak ako máme informácie z Biblie, to tak nám podsúvajú vlastne vedci informácie cez nejaký teleskop, podľa toho, ako skúmajú vesmír cez teleskop.
And we are constantly being fed with this information, with this knowledge.
A neustále nás klamali týmito informáciami a týmto poznaním.
And you and I have no possibility of testing or checking whether they are telling lies or truth. We can just not know. You and I have no way to know whether they are telling truth or lies.
Ani vy, ani ja nemáme šancu zistiť, že či hovoria pravdu alebo nie.
So we just accept it as the truth.
Takže to príjmame ako pravdu.
But like it is proved that the moon landing was a hoax, if it was true, then if they are spending so much money in nuclear technology, they are spending on arms, they're spending on so many things.
Čiže keď pristali na mesiaci a bolo to tak strašne drahé a že teraz máme takú technológiu a máme nukleárne akože bomby a zbrane.
Then they would have definitely had a mission to the moon, which they can't
Čiže,
have.
čiže určite by sa mohla spraviť aj ďalšia